What's up, everybody? My name's Kyle, and welcome to the LRT Outpost. We're going to be hanging out in the shop today, and we're going to get back on our old makeover of our shop truck here. And if you didn't catch our last video, we got some running boards on here that kind of mimic rock sliders. I was kind of going for more kind of sporty off-road look. So we got those up there. We were able to hide that pinch weld real good. And we got our trim restored and all of our little plastic bits looking nice and shiny again. Now, I've never been one that was a huge fan of spoilers on pickup trucks, except like some of the newer designs, like even the Ranger here has almost kind of like a shaped top of the tailgate, almost like a spoiler. And you can get these little caps basically that are tailgate spoilers, and they actually look really good. So I found one. This actually was on Amazon. Now there are some on like American Truck and stuff, but they're pretty expensive. And this actually, in my opinion, looks a little bit better. So we're gonna add up here, kind of leaning into kind of the sporty look of the truck. I really like these earlier 5th gen Rangers better than the newer ones. Because the new one's a little bit more boxier looking, kind of like a mini shrunk down F-150. This is a little bit, just looks a little sportier, that's all. And I just really dig it. So this is the spoiler. You can get one similar, like I said, on American Truck, but this one was a lot cheaper. I think it looks pretty good without being like too much, you know? I really wish it would have already had the double-sided tape applied on the inside of it, but you know, overseas, cheap stuff. But nice little find. I'll put a link to it in the description. All right, let's try to get this up here nice and even. Might actually be better to do it with the tailgate down. Let's try that instead. All right, that looks pretty good. It's really tasteful, actually. I'm excited about that. Not a lot, just a nice little lip off the back. That 3M tape really seems to be really secure. So we're right at 16:30 seconds. It's going to be time to replace these tires real soon. And I've been running 1.5-inch wheel spacers on the factory wheels for a long time, and I've really liked these factory wheels, but I think I want to kind of beef the truck up a little bit, or at least give it the illusion. But I think I want to widen the truck out more, and I want to change the kind of the color scheme a little bit. So I'm going to get some different wheels, and I kind of want to get a little bit more of a poke here. But I still like the two-tone fender flares, or the factory flares. It's really more of like a trim. It's not really a flare. I like that kind of metallic charcoal gray fender flare, and you can get some that are a little bit wider, gives you a little bit more of a flare, but they're the same color. So I got some of those on the way. So I'm gonna get rid of the wheel spacers and go to a completely different wheel and tire setup. We're gonna actually get a buddy of ours, Tyler, to help us detail, and we're gonna clay bar it, and just really, I want this thing to look as close to showroom floor condition as we can get it. All right, so the fender flares have not gotten here yet. In the meantime, we're at my buddy Tyler's house, and we're gonna go ahead and get started detailing this thing and just really try to get it as close to showroom condition as we can get it ourselves. The inside's not bad. I'm not really too worried about the inside. I try to take care of it. But the outside, shamefully, does not get a lot of attention. Sounds like sandpaper. It's like a nail on a chalkboard sound. So while Tyler's getting started pulling the mats out and getting them washed and getting the interior going, I'm going to fix my problem with the spoiler we had installed earlier. Did pretty good, just the 3M tape's not quite as sticking on one side as I would like to, so I got actually some black rivets, so I think they would blend in really well. And I just measured out between these little spaces. I'm just going to put some rivets in, that way I don't ever have to worry about it. And that looks real good. Turned out nice. And it's got my spooler real secure, so I shouldn't have to ever worry about that coming off now. And those black rivets blend in really well. All right, now back to the mission at hand. Sandpaper feeling, the fruits of our labor. Very nice. So this has been my typical bed arrangement. Just use these old like soda cartons for like my toe straps and hitches, hitch covers, can of PB blaster, always good to have, rags, just any little odd and end things I might need. And I got this just kitchen mats or whatever for like a restaurant, just to keep stuff from sliding around back here. It's worked out pretty good, but I definitely want to get something a little bit better, a little bit more organized, and maybe like a better mat. So this one is from Rough Country. I really liked it because it's real thick. So these were sent to me by a company called AAA Liners. They have an Amazon store. I will put a link to them in the description. Their claim is budget friendly floor mats, bed mats, and these tailgate mats that are just as good a quality as like the name brand. So they do say to leave them out in the sun for a couple of days, or just outside basically on a flat surface, so they'll straighten out. All right, so these things have been laying out for like a couple of days. The Rough Country one, I'm still having to have the cinder blocks on it. I mean, that roll on that end there is real persistent. But I think it's probably because it's a little thicker than the others, I feel like. So let's find out. Micrometer, and we're going to do inches because, you know, America. Let's see. 0.3 is what that's showing. This is the bed liner from AAA liners. 0.1. So yeah, quite a bit, and you can tell it's just a little bit more, well, a lot of bit more flexible, but I don't know, we'll see what they look like once we put them in the truck. Now you can tell the bed liner from AAA liners is actually got like a trough and it's molded. So according to AAA, they 3D laser and measure the bed mats very similar to like the big name brands like WeatherTech, Husky Liner do for like the interior mats for your vehicle. So that thickness might not matter that much if it fits real snug in there. So we're going to find out. So we're going to put the rough country one in the back of my truck, see how it fits, and we're going to put the AAA liner in my buddy Travis's Tacoma when he gets here, and we'll do a little comparison. All right, so we got the bed mat in the back of the Tacoma, and it fits in there really, really tight. We actually had to try it a couple of times. So start it from the front and really press it into the front here, and then kind of roll it out towards the back. And you got to kind of step and press on the edges. It is a real tight fitting, so I don't think it being lighter weight than like the rough country one is going to make any difference at all. I mean, it's got nice little bevels for all your bolt locations and everything. Pretty impressed with the bed liner. Now unfortunately, the tailgate mat, the tailgate mat, I like it too. Same texture, looks real nice. All the bolt holes line up nice. The problem is, it's too long. So I don't know if maybe this was for a different model Tacoma and we just got the wrong one sent to us by accident or what, but no big deal. I think we're just going to take a straight edge and just cut that off. Looks real nice actually. I'm pretty tickled with it. Only thing is, I guess maybe they sent us by accident the wrong Tacoma mat, because pretty much everything lined up except there was no hole in the middle here. So we made our own hole, and these two, there is no hole. But everything else was great, except obviously it was a little bit too long, and we cut that off. And that looks real good. All right, so had the rough country one laying out for a few more days. Obviously it's not as tight as the one from AAA liners, because it doesn't have that like little bevel to it, but it is a lot heavier. Overall, I'm real happy with it. I like it. Now the tailgate mat unfortunately did not work out as well as the Tacoma. It fits good. I didn't have to do any trimming. However, it had no bolt holes down here. So you're supposed to use some 3M. Well, I'm saying it's 3M, but double-sided tape. You're supposed to use some double-sided tape that comes with the kit and tape it down. But I have spray in bed liner also on the tailgate. So, and I transport like fuel and stuff back here sometimes, so there's no way that double-sided tape would survive. So all I did was take the same black rivets I used for the tailgate spoiler, and I just drilled me a couple extra spots and got it nice and secure. So not a necessary upgrade, but I like it. So whatever. And as y'all saw before, I just had like these little soda crates with just traps and stuff shoved in them. So I wanted to get something a little bit better organized, and I couldn't really find anything that I liked. The swing cases actually bolt in here and they'll actually swing out, which is nice. But I had seen another review online where they're just real flimsy and not really worth anything. And they're kind of expensive. So I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And if you're following the channel, you know I'm also cleaning out an old barn to use as my shop. So I found a toolbox. This old plastic task force toolbox. So I just cleaned it up. Put me some little tools and stuff I need. Pins, trailer pins, D-rings, whatever. Toe straps in the bottom. Extra hitch and stuff. I mean, dang. That just fits in there too good. And I don't really I don't really think I'm gonna have to worry about it going anywhere. That rubber mat really holds it in place, actually. Man, look at that. Bam. Now, AAA also sent me a little cargo net. And at first I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I'll check it out, but it's a cargo net. It's not a big deal. Not something I'm really super interested in. But then when I open it up, and if you can see in the instructions, it almost looks like it's like a mole panel. Mole? I don't know. Well, whatever you call the little panels where you like can lock stuff in. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And you have these little rings that screw into these threaded holes here. I was like, all right, well, that's actually kind of neat. And then I got to folding it out. You really have to stretch it. I mean, it's got to stretch like 2 feet to reach the other end. I don't really need it. I'm not really interested. So sorry, guys. That needs a little work, but I'm actually pretty impressed with those mats, especially the tailgate mat. I know it's not necessary, but I just kind of like it. I think it's neat. And the bed mat fit really well in the back of our buddy Trav's Tacoma. So if the floor mats fit anything like that, then if you're looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, you don't want to spend the money on like a WeatherTech or Husky liner or something like that, I get it. They're probably a good option, so you may want to go check them out. So that was AAA liners. They have an Amazon store. I'll put a link down in the description of all these products if you want to check it out. All right, our fender flares, wheels, and tires are all here and just in time, because I think I have pushed these tires to their limit. I mean, woo. And just for funsies, let's just put a tire gauge on it. Right in the middle. 30 seconds. Yeah, that's getting a little low. But we got Maxxis Razor 285/70 17s. I've always been a fan of Maxxis tires, but mostly just on ATVs and side-by-sides and stuff. Never really realized they made tires for actual like full-size vehicles or road vehicles. So I want to give them a shot. I like the way they look. It's a real nice tread pattern. And they're supposed to last 50,000+ miles. So if they do any good as these are Ironmans that I had up here, and they've rolled over 50,000 and they've done pretty good. Currently we are a 275/70 on the factory 18s with 1.5-inch wheel spacers. Did a video on that. There's nothing wrong with running wheel spacers. I know some people will tell you that they're not a good idea, but honestly, on something like this, it's really not a big deal. I did a video on it if y'all want to go check that out. I'll do a little tag to it for you. But I wanted to go down to a 17. So we're now got some Lock Off-Road 17x9s with a 0 offset. So that should give me actually about not quite a 1/2 inch, like 1 centimeter and some change more poke than what I currently have with these factory wheels with the 1.5-inch wheel spacers. So with the fender flares that I got, we should get a nice flush look is the goal. My concern is clearance in the front. I already have high clearance crash bars here in the front already. So this is aftermarket right here. The originals, I couldn't even clear what I got right now with the originals. So front and a rear one. For getting a little bit more width, I might have a bit of a scrub there. I don't know. So we may just have to remove the crash bars, and I might have to do a little bit of grinding and stuff on them. Those are from Ready Lift. I really like them. They seem well made, and they're kind of like structurally braced up. So if you do hit something, they can't, obviously they can't guarantee it even meets the factory crash test rating, but it looks robust. So I felt better about having that there than versus nothing. But tons of people just remove them and don't run them at all. So anyways, we'll see what happens. We're going to go over to my buddy Tyler's shop. We always go over there because he has a tire machine and he doesn't care if we use it. So he's super cool about that. So shout out to him. We really appreciate it. And he's also the one to help me get it all nice and shiny. Now, really, it's not really shiny anymore. Actually, it's held up really well. This has actually been probably a month or two after we washed it and waxed it and everything and detailed it, and it's held up real good. And I'm curious to see what you guys think of like the kind of the color scheme I'm transitioning to. But let's roll over there and get these new sick looking wheels on this thing. The big reveal. These things are going to look so good. Let's take off our lunch lady hairnet. Ba-ba-ba. Boom. Look at that. That is so sick. They are bronze, so I'm gonna have to do something different with our factory FX4 sticker and my tow hooks and little like small details like that. Getting our stuff together to get everything all mounted. Just bought new tire pressure monitor system valve stems. We're gonna try to carefully remove the factory ones and just attach them to these. So instead of trying to like struggle and pull it through, just get you something soft to stick between the wheel and the tool. Just give it a little pry. And it just pops it right on in, just like that. Also went and got some hub-centric rings for the wheels, just because the center bore is not perfect. Definitely recommend doing that so you don't cut down on like extra vibrations and stuff like that. It just causes the wheel to seat really good. I'll show you that when we get the new wheels bolted up. Let's do one of the fronts first and just check our clearance, because I am a little concerned about that, because we may have to remove the crash bars temporarily, and I might have to do some modification of those for clearance. But let's do that first and see where we're at, and then we'll get it all wrapped up. Gotta do is get our little sensor off here. So it's just a little screw here, so we're just going to push down on the tire, get that sensor out. So I said something about a hub-centric ring earlier. That's what these are. And they just slide right inside the wheel. So it's a nice snug fit. It's because the center bore here, these little like tab looking things here, are not the same as the inner diameter of the center bore on the wheel. So to make up for that play there and to keep down on vibrations, like that fits in there nice and snug, and then fits in nice and snug here. Now obviously if your center bore is the correct from wheel to your vehicle, then you don't need these. All right, those look real good. That black lip, the running board, they do stick out just a little bit more. So I think once we get the fender flares on, it's gonna look real nice. So let's check our clearance real quick. Go ahead and crank her up for me. All the way to the right. Ooh, we tight. Tight, but we got room. Should be okay. I'm gonna have to listen for maybe some scrubbing, but I think we're all right there. All right, go all the way to the left for me. Whoa, 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 hold on. Back to the left a little bit. All right, go back right some. Whoa, right there. Woo. Ooh, that's close. It might rub on some of that felt fender liner a little bit. All the way to left again. Keep going real slow, real slow. Oh man, yeah, it's probably going to rub on that liner a little bit. Come back right, it's real slow. All right, well, yeah, that's real tight right there. So I'm probably going to get a little rubbage on that fender liner, but my main concern was this metal here. Overall, pretty happy with it. All right, so now we got to start matching the rest of the truck to blend in with those sick bronze wheels we got. So I got some new FX4 decals. I think I found them on Etsy. I'll try to find the link and put it down in the description for you guys. I think they had a bunch of different colors. I was really impressed with the way they turned out. Like, they seem to be pretty good quality, and they look real close to like the factory FX4 like scheme and font and all that. So we'll see, we'll check those out here in just a second. And I can't leave the tow hooks red. No, they weren't red from the factory. I painted those, just rattle canned them, and I'm probably just going to do the same. Found some bronze paint that I think will match pretty good, just so they don't stick out like a sore thumb. And then to finish it off, we're going to throw on those fender flares. So I actually had a little bit of fiasco with the fender flares. I had originally ordered a set from a real truck company. I think it was through Husky Liners, and for whatever reason they couldn't get to me. So I ended up ordering these off of American Trucks, I believe. I'll put a link down in the description. But they're actually the pocket style mimic flares, which I really wasn't a fan of, but I think they're actually going to look okay. I saw some pictures online. So these are fake rivets, obviously, that I just stuck in there. And the trim, really was not impressed with this trim. I mean, it's basically already fallen all the way off. So it's supposed to adhere, but has a very thin lip. But I think once I put it back up there, it stays long enough to like get it back on the truck, and then once it's on the truck, it should stay in place, hopefully. So we'll see. But I went ahead and got them already the same magnetic gray as my factory flares. So while I am adding like a bit of style and flair to the truck, no pun intended, but I'm trying to be real subtle about it. So almost at first glance, it might almost look like a weird like factory trim that you weren't aware of until you like start really looking at it. So I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. Got a minor clearance issue. This is real close to the tire. So other side, or driver's side, was a little worse. So I think I'm just gonna tape it off and just take my Dremel with the cutoff wheel and just cut this little corner off right here. And that should give us just enough room. I may have to do a little bit more trimming down the road, but we'll see. But I think that'll give me just enough. this thing is looking real good. I'm real happy with the way it turned out. I was not the biggest fan of those pocket style fender flares. So it gave you the option between the black little fake rivets or the polished ones. I think the black was definitely the way to go. They turned out a lot better looking than what I thought. But what do you guys think about the color scheme? Me personally, I really like bronze wheels on the correct color, but I think they really look good with that dark charcoal, kind of, they call it magnetic gray, I think. But the silver with that darker gray and that bronze with the black accents with the running boards and all that, I think it just ties in really, really good, especially with the new decals. And of course, the little tow hooks pop out on the front. The wheels look so awesome. I mean, these are some of the sickest looking wheels. So shout out to Lock Off-Road. And I did get them from Custom Offsets. So I know you guys probably know who they are, but I was real surprised. They were about like 30 or 40 bucks a wheel cheaper than everywhere else I could find these exact wheels. So go check them out. They do make it real easy. They have like a wheel and tire size calculator. I have my own little method that I do. I got this maxed out. There is literally no more room in here with the way it currently sits. Now with that said, y'all may have noticed my little Heidi Fox decal here. And of course, I always had the Fox head on the back here by the FX Ford. Honestly, I just like Fox's stuff. Their shocks come factory on my razors. I never change them because they're just good shocks. And I've always just loved their stuff. So I have been a little bit of a poser, but that will be resolved because I have a full level suspension lift for this already. And you may or may not can guess what company I went with. So that'll be coming. Make sure you hit that subscribe if you want to keep following along with the little shop truck build here. But now I'm thinking, with these kind of beefier fender flares, we might need to bump this thing up in the air a little bit more. What do you guys think? My sidewall pokes out just a little bit further than the fender. You can't really tell. These are kind of blocky tires, which I do like that look. And I love the tread pattern, but the block edge does cut underneath the flare, probably about right here. I do like that the flare kind of cuts out immediately here. Gives you more of almost kind of like a rough cut, like off-roady bumper look, and you can see the tire poke out. So it is basically what they would call hella flush, because my sidewall is basically just a touch outside the fender. I think I still want just a little bit more poke. So when these tires wear out, probably going to bump that tire size up, and the only way to do that is to lift it a little bit more. So I think might do 1 more inch. You can get like lift blocks for the rear leafs, and the shocks I have are adjustable, so I can add myself a little bit of a lift. I have to do upper control arms in the front and do like a it's the front diff, I believe, has to be lowered down a little bit for the axle angles. So they have kits for that. But I'm gonna kind of look into my options. But what do you guys think? Put it down in the comments below. I'm kind of curious. I've always loved the way it sits now, but now with those bigger, beefier fender flares, I actually really like the way the flares are looking. But I feel like I need to go a bigger tire size. That will have to be a project for another day. This is how this is going to ride for a little while. But as always, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch any of my videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.